Hey guys, welcome to the last week of 6 weeks to clients. And by now, I would hope if you've gotten this far and you're watching this video, you are almost stacked with enough clients to definitely get you through the next month. But what we want you to have is an ongoing client pool, an ongoing set of prospects, an ongoing sustainable business that you're doing from home, that you are finding work that you love and clients that you love. Okay, so that's what we're going to focus on today. Ongoing growth and prospecting. Let me move to presenter mode here. Okay, so this week we're going to talk about how do we stay on track? What are our daily, our weekly, our monthly business tasks? How do you keep that prospect queue warm and book new clients each month? And then what's holding you back? We all get to this point and you've got all the tools you need. We've gone over and above all the tools you need to be running your own virtual professional business, but there's probably still something nagging at you and something that's still sort of there, holding you back. We're going to talk about a couple of those things too. Just a refresh. Whenever you get lost, whenever you get out into the fuzz, into the wilderness, and you lose track of where you are, remember these basics. The only things you need to have in place for virtual professional business are a clear listing of your services and pricing, at least a single website page that you're sending people to, your prospecting list and follow-up plan with them, a contract, an onboarding process when people sign up, confidence in your skills for these services, and hey, a couple references and testimonials. That's it. That's your virtual professional business kind of in a nutshell. At its simplest, you really only need one person to say, will you do this for me? What do you charge? Oh, I charge $200. Okay, let's get started. That's how simple it is, okay? So when you start getting in the weeds, what should be on my website? What should be my logo? Should I be sending an email this week? Just come back to this and just do good work for people. All right, there's a key here that I want to remind all of you of, and that is the one thing at a time, right? I still see at this point in the program that many people are still trying to juggle multiple businesses and multiple types of services, and really classic problem that some of us women have, trying to please everybody, trying to be everything to everyone. Well, I want to offer this because I know this person does Pinterest, and I want to offer this because, I really like to play around in Canva, and this person has this need over here in Excel, and I am still also working on my direct sales business, or I'm also still working on my blog. That is just too many things to focus our minds on. I know personally, I can do a max 3 things at one time. I can manage my family, I can have a main work, and I can have a side work. And this past summer, we had a family crisis, right? My father got brain cancer, if that's the right way you say it, and we lost him in 10 weeks. 10 weeks from the time that we found the tumor until he was gone. And I know that even doing family, main work, and side work, that I can leave space for a family crisis like that. Really, it's usually the side work that suffers, right? I can do family, main work, and a family crisis, right? So if you have family, main work, side work, side work, side work, number one, you're stressed, you're not performing well physically. And, if a crisis comes, you're going to feel even worse about it because you're not, lots of things are crashing then, right? I knew very intentionally, I'm like, this is going to be the season for me to take my foot off the gas on my side work and to focus more on my family. All right. His timing, right? For those who are believers, this is his timing, not ours. We have to trust that. I have streamlined a number of things, trying to get to the one thing. One example, inside our nonprofit, inside 24/7 Commitment, you guys might look at me and go, Lori runs a nonprofit. She has a client service business. She has 4 kids, for crying out loud, and she's doing the How She Quits program. So how do you do it all? Well, I didn't do them all at once, right? The nonprofit has been up and running for 5 years. We've streamlined it. It has a team that runs it, and it just takes my oversight at certain points and certain key timings to keep it rolling. We also, at the end of 2016, really streamlined our services. We used to offer about 8 different things. And when we stepped back and looked at things, we realized that really it was 3 of them that were getting the most results for our mission. And were also the most aligned for our team to run and to really operate. And so we chopped off a bunch of excess fat and really just kept running the core mission with the most effective initiatives. And it felt so much better for everybody, including our customers, right? Including our clients and our donors and our supporters. Joe Ditt's services page, this was the service page example that I had looked at in the Facebook group. If you want to pop over there and look at that, we talked about, should she do design and Amazon Book Services, Create Space and print formatting and online form, she can do all that. Joe Ditt's a smart girl. She can do all those things and she's a great designer. But if you offer all those on your services page, then you need to be ready at any one point for somebody to say, I want to do that, and that, and be able to offer all the services at the same time. And it takes a little bit to spin up into 4 different spaces, right? Like if you're doing Pinterest work all day and then you got to switch over and do Excel work, it takes a little while to switch gears and get into that mode. All right. So this even applies within your business. Even with my client services business, Lauren Mercer CTO, I am trying to move from doing a broad range of custom work into more specific work projects. Okay. So I don't just say yes to every client that comes to me anymore. I don't just build any funnel or whatever anybody wants on WordPress anymore. I very intentionally know which projects are going to align into the workflow that matches to what myself and my team can do. All right. Multiple things always slows us all down. I already mentioned it's slower to switch gears between tasks and businesses. It takes more processes, more systems, more files, more digital clutter, more team members with more different skills, more profiles, more plans, more words on your contracts, on your web pages, on your social medias. Okay. So one thing, you guys, if there's one thing you can take away from this, is to make sure you step out of this program focusing on the one thing in your virtual professional services business. All right. So how do you get to your one thing? Oops, stray bullet. Start with the one that brings your cash flow. Okay. So if you have something right now that's hot, that's profitable, that everybody is asking you for, just focus there. It doesn't have to be the thing you stay on forever, but it's definitely the one that's working right now. So go with what's working and learn from it. You can also leverage current trends and needs in the marketplace. I keep stressing video right now. I'm recording this here in Q4 of 2017. I said the same thing back in June of 2017. The first time I did this, video is big. The need for video. E-commerce is also big. Shopify is big right now. So if you're going to specialize in one of those spaces, I know both of those spaces have a high need for support right now. I also would suggest that you don't try to get too unique and creative out of the gate. Okay. Your uniqueness will begin to shine when you've got some strong wins under your belt. So it's totally okay to start in general VA work and specialize kind of once you've got that experience and know-how. And this might sound counter to me saying doing one thing, but really, if you're in that space where you don't know, you have to get some actions under your belt and get some feedback on those works to be able to then narrow in on your one thing. All right. Remember this slide? We went over this a couple weeks ago. You have a system. Your virtual professional system is this: find leads, close the sale, onboard them, do the work, right? And we talked about how, are you doing this over and over for $100 clients, or are you doing it once a week for a $1,000 client? Don't feel like you've gone through this course and you've gotten, 3 or 4 contracts, 3 or 4 clients closed, and that you're done. All right. This is repeatable. You do need to be prospecting, not a ton of time, but you do need to keep the feelers out there, because you never know what direction is going to turn in somebody's business, right? Like, that's one of the risks of working with small businesses, is they can suddenly have a month where their father gets cancer and they're going to put their business on hold for a couple months. Like, I had to do a little bit with mine. So there's a little bit of more unpredictability there. And that's why you got to keep this cycle flowing for your business. All right. So let's do a refresher on that system. In priority and order of priority and order of likelihood for finding your next client. This is kind of a recap of the whole program that you just went through. Number one, you're going to get referrals from existing clients. If you are doing great work for existing clients and you tell them, hey, I'm going to have an opening next month because one of my clients is dropping off, just ask them to share your name with others. If they love the work that you're doing with them, they will totally reach out and do that. You can also go and ask for more work with current and past clients. So some of you, I know you want to move up in the pay rate. You want to move up in the hours the dollar per hours rate. A way that you can do that is by continuing to do stellar work at the $20 an hour level, the $25 an hour level, $30 an hour level. And when you demonstrate capability that's in that $40 an hour range, your client's not even going to go look elsewhere. They're going to say, hey, Susie, do you know how to do that? Can you learn how to do that? Because it would be so much easier if you could just learn how to do that than for me to go out and find somebody else that knows how to do that. Okay. So more work with current and past clients, even past clients who, have you stopped working for a while, you can go back to and say, I got an opening coming up. I wanted to give it to you first before I offered it to somebody else, right? Because you have a track record with them. Okay, item number 3, networking in your connections list. So this goes back to the very first exercise we had you do here. Go back to that connections list. I'm sure you went through it once or twice, but some time's passed now, and time changes, right? Like people have different needs. So go back to that networking list. Lastly, no, it's not lastly, that's number 4. Participate in in-person networks with well-connected people, right? So masterminds, groups like this. Events, go to live events. So example, video editing for online marketing in the 90-day year group. So 90-day year is one of the communities I like to hang out in. I love the program. I love the people that hang out there. I have found good business there. That's an example of one of the works that just came out of that group. There's a Christian women's business group that I am a part of, and they are always looking for, I need a graphic designer. I need somebody to do tech research. My How She Quits community, right? You're now, if you've done this course successfully, you've gotten this far, you're all now on the Verified Virtual Professional list, and you should be networking with each other. There is probably work that's coming to you that you can't do, but maybe somebody else in this group can, and vice versa. And then lastly, go hunting in those online databases, right? So look at how many layers of people you know and networking work that's not scary networking work, guys. I gave you a lot of examples here of how to ask the question, how to ask for more leads, how to ask for more referrals, before you have to go hunting into the cold marketplace, where there is, by the way, a ton of work that goes unfilled. All right. So let's talk about this Verified Virtual Professional listing. I want to share a little bit about when I see people come through this program, what traits do they have that make me want to refer them out? So that's part of the opportunity here, is that those who complete our programs well and go through them A to Z, get listed on our website as a Verified Virtual Professional. And most of the time, I know those people, like to know those people, and want to know them inside and out before I list them out there. And there's ways that I get to know them, right? So here's number 3, for example. If you're taking action in the program, if you're doing the homework, you're making progress, you're interacting in the group, you're coming onto the group calls, I'm going to know who you are. And when my network says, Lori, do you know anybody? Let's see, I can give you 3 examples this week. Lori, do you know anybody that can format this PDF before we send it off to the printer? We've got the raw text, but we really want to make it look more pretty, like this book over here. Lori, do you know anybody that can do a cover design? Lori, I need a logo. My client needs a logo. Lori, we need to build a new Shopify store. Will you help us? Do you know somebody that does Shopify? I'm looking for somebody to do strategic consulting to a guy who isn't yet convinced that the online marketplace is where he needs to be. Those all examples came to me this week. So if you guys are making yourself known in this community and really interacting and engaging here, I'm going to know you and work's going to come to mind. And the same thing for the others who are interacting with you. So what makes me want to refer you guys on? When I see people in here who are clear on what they can do and they're confident in their skills and ability, because I don't want to refer somebody onto my network who's like, well, okay, I guess I can try that. No, like, we want you to be confident. We need you to be like, okay, here's how this works with me. Does that match up to you? Okay, talk to me a little bit about what your needs are. Okay, I heard you say this. Will this work for you? Right? Like, that's a confidence that is conveyed in a conversation, not a, well, what do you want the next step to be? Right? Like, you're in the driver's seat trying to please the customer, right? So the customer's in the driver's seat as far as what they want to be done, but you're in the driver's seat as far as bringing them a solution, which leads to point 2, responsiveness and follow through. This is probably the number one disqualifier for anyone who does work for me. If there is a task put out there with a date and it goes by without recognition, without acknowledgement, without, oh, hey, I'm working on this. This is my status. This is where we are. Or if there's I'll be back to you tomorrow, and there's no back to you tomorrow, or even the next day and a week goes by. These are examples, it drives me crazy, because what happens is that sometimes complete projects get put on hold because there hasn't been a closed loop. You might be doing very legit things like doing some research or doing some follow-up, but not keeping the team in the loop, not keeping your client in the loop is a big no-no. So I look for people who are super responsive and who follow through with things like booking their one-on-one call with me, who follow through with getting the data that's needed for the websites we're building for you, who follow through with posting in the group and getting feedback in the group. Responsiveness counts for so much. All right, we already talked about number 3. Number 4, fast learning. Listen, there's always going to be something you guys don't know in the virtual professional space. I promise you that. There's something that I don't know every single hour that I'm doing this work. So you have to be comfortable with not knowing and be comfortable with trusting that you know how to go find it out. Google, of course, but there are faster and better ways to Google than some, and being a fast learner is a key. All right, and professional. Now, by professional, I don't mean that, look, your office can look like mine. It looks like I'm sitting in a home office. I'm totally okay with that. I love sitting in a home office. I don't wear a suit and dress clothes every day. But I am professional in communication. I am professional in handling my emotions. I am professional in following up. In all those things, my clients would trust to put me in front of their clients. That's the kind of professional that we're looking for. Doesn't mean perfect. We've all got messy lives. We all miss a meeting here or there. We all have, we get sick, our kids get sick, we get a flat tire. There's all things like that happen, but how we handle them professionally and not as excuses and not passing blame is super critical. It's a great trait of what I call a verified virtual professional. If you want a bad example, just hang out in any Facebook group, really. We had an example last week of a girl who came into our Facebook group and dropped, I'm not joking, 27 comments inside a post trying to get hired as a virtual professional. Here's what I do, and here's all my work, and I do this, and I do this. And she dropped 27 comments with examples of work, and the work wasn't even that good, by the way, all through the group. And that was just not the way to endear yourself to somebody. It's not the way to get to know a community. It's not the way to get work. Okay. So don't be the bad example. Okay. So let's talk about your prospect list for a second. Keep a spreadsheet because it's easy to forget people. It's totally easy to forget people. I do it all the time. I'll run across somebody or somebody will comment and be like, hey, are we going to set up that call? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot. Because life gets busy. Also track who referred them. And you see the spreadsheet down here. Here's the contact name. Here's the source where it came from. Here's the person. So Tiran came from BNI. BNI is a business networking group, by the way, and a person named Jeffrey Loomis, right? So this is just a cold example. I don't know these people. I just use this to give you as an example. Contact dates, right? This is when the initial contact was. Here's where, ongoing, here's what I'm going to do next. I have an example in the next slide to show you. Also keep a file that's easy to update to take notes. So I like to use Evernote for this, or a Trello, or an Asana card. A Google Docs, probably my third choice, but it has to be something that's easy for me to update, also for my phone, to get at quickly from my phone and to drop a note in, because you might be, having pizza with the family and you bump into somebody and you want to be able to rapidly drop a note in there. That is why this is important. And also think about opportunity, value, and priority is important, because look, you're going to spend more time thinking about or networking with somebody who's a $10,000 opportunity than a $600 opportunity, right? So that's just an obvious, but until you sort of see it in black and white, it doesn't necessarily feel that way, because sometimes a $600 person is texting you nonstop, And the $10,000 person is just waiting for you to make one phone call and the deal's done. This is a great document right here that is an example of prospect tracking. So when you're thinking, well, this is a real, probably kind of corporate, more advanced example, but what I really liked about this is this spreadsheet. And this is what she said, over a year, use the spreadsheet has shaken down into a daily go-to. So close ratio. So these are things you sort of want to know. What's the proportion of deals that actually close? How many people are you talking to before you actually close a deal? I know for me that my prospect list stays kind of short because eventually 60 to 80% of the people that come to me end up working with me, right? Like that's a really high close ratio. And if you're doing good work, you're going to experience the same thing. So then, how many contacts do you need to have each month to reach your goals? Where are they coming from? When you keep this, you start seeing, oh, most of them are coming from this network or this network, so I should spend more time there. It also gives you an idea of how full is your pipeline, like how busy are you going to be in the next couple of months, and just general the healthiness of your pipeline. If you're weak in some areas, it's time to knuckle down, right? If you're light on incoming work, same thing. So this is just one example. You can go here and pull this down and use this as a template if that makes sense to you. This is another example also from a past participant of 6 Weeks to Clients. Laisha used this spreadsheet. And so very similar to what we said, there's a name. She talks about the customer type. She made her own definition here, right? And there's different reasons for her to be in contact with somebody. Are they going to be a partner? Are they a client or referral, right? So it doesn't just have to be a client. Like there might be other people that you put on this list for different reasons, and you might want to track that. And then she tracks all the way from initial content all the way out to closed or involvement. This was something that she was using in her direct sales business that she sort of modified back to the needs for her virtual professional business as well. Okay, so just a refresh on the client process, right? It's not that complicated, but I like to see checklists in front of me, and it's always a good reminder to see again. So you close the sale, you get the contract signed. Do not start work without a signed contract ever, right? Even for friends. Collect all their initial information, logins, brands, copy, emails, phone numbers. The more you can collect right now, the less back and forth, the more productive it's going to feel to them. Like, oh, she's really efficient. Like you've got that all together. Get the meetings into the calendar. When you get meetings locked into the calendar, it feels very tangible for your clients that, oh, now we're really doing work. Like time is work. We're really doing work. Get your project management system set up, right? What are the milestones? So that they know their expectations are managed. Like these are the tasks, these are the assignments, this is what's coming up. And then execute ongoing reporting using this method, and then the finalize, right? Some projects really are limited. They're not ongoing month after month. So be sure you have a good, solid closeout with a project that is one and done. If you're always rushing off onto the next project, they might not think anything of it, right? Like that's fine. Everybody's busy. But if you take the time to do a nice, strong close, they're definitely going to think more highly of you and refer you to others. Okay, so what daily, weekly, monthly systems do you need in your freelance business? Here's kind of a routine at a very high level of what I do. Daily. I'm always daily responding to client requests. If a client sends me something, I have a policy that I try to not go beyond one day to get back to them, not including weekends. Like they're all pretty respectful of my weekends. I also, especially for prospects, I never go more than one day without replying to a prospect. And track your time. Track your time daily because you can't remember even what you did yesterday, right? And so tracking your time to the level of detail that lets you see how much time you're spending on each type of task with each type of client is going to really shape how you plan your services moving forward. Weekly. I have a weekly planning session where I will plan and block client work time and meetings, as well as time to work on my own business, right? So don't leave this out. It's so easy to always be doing the next thing for your client, always be doing the next thing, and then just get behind on your general marketing. And also block in time for prospect hunting. So what am I going to do this week that's going to keep my name out there? What groups am I going to be in? What mastermind calls? What networking? What emails am I going to send? And then monthly, I like to do, monthly, I like to do my bookkeeping, invoicing, bill pay all in one day. I just batch this all in one day it takes me about 2 or 3 hours, and my team knows I operate this way. My clients know I operate this way. And so it all goes out. And then I also like to send out a once a month email kind of to my full client list and contact list. It's just a touch base, just a check in, like, hey, here's what's going on in Lori's world. And it keeps you top of mind. It might be, this is a book I'm reading that I wanted to share with you all. Here's a helpful tip that I learned, related to your freelance work. It might be just something fun like, hey, I'm looking forward to next month. I'm going to be on a cruise with my family. Just a heads up, if you've got any work coming, then those dates I'm not going to be available. You might give a shout out to one of your clients, like, just launched this great new project with so-and-so, and here's what we have going on. All right. So that's kind of a daily, weekly, monthly routine that I go through. I mean, look how simple it is, guys. It's a really simple business model. But I don't say that. Give me a second here. Take a drink. I don't say that to minimize any of the fears and concerns you guys are having, because they are very legit and they're very real. And if you didn't have them, everybody would be running this business, right? So here's a few comments from some of the past participants in 6 Weeks to Clients. I'll give you a chance to read these on the screens, but there's a theme in all of these, right? What's holding me back? In this case, having a system in place for quoting. I don't have a page on my website to send them, and maybe forms to fill out. Christy was saying, I don't feel like I know what my worth is. She's not sure what to charge, right? Stephanie saying timing and finances, it's summer, so timing isn't as open as it is during the school year. Laisha was saying self-inflicted. I have my hands in a lot of things, right? So it's time for her also. So if I was to draw one theme from all of these, the theme is a lack of clarity or understanding about something. It's missing information. Like, even when time is the issue, you're missing a piece of information about what is bringing you the most value in your business. So how do you find that missing information? Like, what do I charge? Where do I send people? This is all missing information. Is you take an action. If you don't know your worth or how to price, just test it out. Test some options out and ask some people. If you don't know if there's a market for your skill, go ahead and hunt and pitch and ask. And you'll see. You'll get some no's. Maybe you'll get a yes. And if you don't have the time carved out to do the next thing, you have to say no. You have to say no so that you can finish the things that you're on and, close those loops and close those cycles in your brain so that you can focus and really, get back into a more effective working relationship. Okay. So what's holding you back? I know that there's other things holding you guys back. You can always come into the Facebook group and answer this question. In fact, this is a homework that I'd love to see for week 6 is what's holding you back, because more than anything, I want you to end the 6 Weeks to Clients course with the ability to move forward with motivation, with enthusiasm, and to not be held back by anything. Okay, so that brings us to the homework this week. What is going to be your action plan for keeping your client prospecting and closing system in place moving forward? I want you to use the group for questions. This is going to be my last week for heavy active involvement with this class, with this session. So make sure you use the group heavy this week. I want you to send me your success stories. If you find virtual work, okay, I would love to feature your client, or just feature you. It doesn't have to be your client as well, on the website, on my social media. And that's just another way that you're going to get your name out there, because I'm telling you, people watch my community and, they watch online and they'll see a project that's completed and they're going to go, because I do this all the time, like, oh, I need to do that project too. I didn't even realize people did that. Well, there you go. There's somebody that'll do it. I'm going to reach out to them right now. And lastly, for those of you who have successfully completed this course, which if you've gotten this far, You most likely have. I want you to be listed on our website as a verified virtual professional. So go to lorimercercto.com/submit-vvp/profile and complete that form, and we will get you featured into a block up on our website. Okay? What is next? Stay connected, you guys. Stay connected. The How She Succeeds Network is the landing place for everybody who goes through my courses. And my definition in this is a community for virtual professionals who are serious about growing their business. Okay. So I would love to see you all stay connected in this group. I can tell you that the one thing that does keep me on track in my businesses is when I have a mentor who's been there, who's done that, who's being successful in what I'm trying to do, because I know I always have that person to lean on. I always have that person to say, hey, I'm having a struggle with this. I'm having a struggle with that. Can you help me figure out how to do this? And that more than anything, more than taking another training or buying another book or Googling, the fastest path for me to bust out of a slump or a hurdle in my business is to go to a mentor or coach who knows what's going on. And that's totally what I want to be for you guys, what I want to be both with inside the How She Succeeds Network. And if you want more, if you feel like, hey, this was really good, but I'm still really struggling with a few things, and I'd like to talk a little further about my situation. Maybe it's even about being a virtual professional and running your online business, launching a course, launching a membership site, something else that you have in your wish list, then I'm happy to talk to you about that. You can go to lorimercercto.com/strategy call, and there's some details there on how to have a personalized coaching call with me and to just really push your business into the next level. All right. I have enjoyed this. Again, each time I see somebody go through 6 weeks to clients, my favorite part is just the pure joy when you land that client, you land that contract, you get your first paycheck on your own, and especially when you quit your corporate and get to celebrate that moment that you're working for yourself. All right, guys, thank you for being great students, great participants, watching all the way to the end, and we will see you inside the groups.